Hello again, everybody. We're back again. This is series number 113. The Park Baseball 20 is bringing us some more action here. Two teams from the history of the game that we're going to pit together and see what happens. We have a team from the 20s and a team from the 60s here, and always interesting to cross eras and see what will happen. So the first team we're going to introduce today is the 1921 Philadelphia Phillies. Lost 103 games, one of the worst teams in a generation of baseball, and we'll see if they can put anything together here for a 7-game series. Their lineup here lacked, of course, a lot of things, but you can see here their catcher, Frank Brugge, hit .310, not a bad season, but only got 300 plate appearances. Ed Konechny, .321, a good player, 59 RBIs. Cy Williams with 18 home runs hit .320, and he produced as Irish Musial did as well at .353. So I stand corrected here. The lineup looks actually very impressive for the Phillies. A lot of good averages, a couple guys in double-digit home runs, not much speed, but a lot of doubles, and seems like the runs were a little bit down, but that's surprising because they did get on base a lot. But going to the pitching, there are some issues here. Obviously, we have a pitcher, George Smith, who's 4-20 with a very high ERA, a disastrous year for Smith. Jimmy Ring, 10 wins, 19 losses. His ERA at 4.24. Bill Hubble, a losing record. Lee Meadows got 27 starts, not much more luck. Those were the three arms that got close to 200 innings or more. A few other guys here that looks like were chose to start through the year, including Jesse Winters, Huck Betts, but a lot of issues there. ERA-wise, I'm guessing the team wasn't very good defensively, didn't get any clutch hitting, couldn't run the bases very well. Probably not a very well-managed team. Some individual talent, but a lot of challenges for the 1921 Phillies, who, again, lost 103 games and finished in dead last in the National League. Their opponents, it's 60s club, the Chicago Cubs from 1965. 72-90, not a great season for the Cubs either, under two managers, Bob Kennedy and Lou Klein. As for the roster and the lineups, the Cubs did have some talent here, so even some Hall of Famers. Ernie Banks, 28 and 106 in 65, getting up there in age a little bit. His average dipped to 265. 25 doubles. We have Billy Williams, who was the star of the team with an average of 315. Led him in WAR, 34 homers, over 200 hits. Ron Santo, only 25 years old. He smashed out 33 long ones at 285, so Santo coming into his own. And then it gets really thin for the Cubs. Not much else going on here production-wise. Don Landrum, Don Kessinger, Glenn Beckert all struggled for most of the year. So three bats really that could produce. That's not always a good thing in a lineup. You're going to need a lot more than that to compete. The starting pitching, Larry Jackson lost 21 games, probably a hard luck loser in a lot of those. Dick Ellsworth, 14 and 15, not a bad ERA. He struck out 130. Bob Bull with the winning record and a little bit higher ERA there. And Cal Kuntz also got 23 starts. Bill Fall, 17 starts. Ted Abernathy with 31 saves. A nice arm out of the pen. Lou Boudret on here at 38 years old. Started in 3 games. Lindy McDaniel, 5 and 6, another arm that was used a lot out of the pen. So the Cubs, by all means, not a dominant team, but playing against these Phillies, they definitely are the favorites. Good draw for the Cubbies. They'll get the home field advantage at Wrigley in games 1 and 2 before we move out to Philadelphia and the Baker Bowl. Looking at game 1, it's going to be Jimmy Ring for the Phillies against Dick Ellsworth. We'll see if the Cubs can take advantage of their draw here with the struggling Phillies team, or will the Phils put it together here in a 7-game series? Wouldn't be the first time we saw a team with a poor record really produce. So the only way to find out is to get things started. Let's head out to Wrigley Field for game 1 and see how the 1921 Phillies will fare against the 1965 Chicago Cubs. Wrigley Field in Chicago as we head into the bottom of the first with Billy Williams at the plate and 2 men on facing Jimmy Ring here. A chance for the Cubs early on, and there's a line shot by Williams. That's going to get down into the gap here. That's going to score 1, maybe 2. An RBI double by Billy Williams gets the Cubs on the board here in the bottom of the first against the Phillies. Just to start the Cubs hope for. It's 2-0. Now we move to the third. Jimmy Ring on second and Kurt Walker at the plate. And Walker will go the other way. This ball's going to drop in front of the left fielder, and a run will score now for the Phils. It is 2-1. Lead cut in half as Walker gets an RBI hit. We'll move bottom 3. Runners on the corner for Doug Clemens. 2 outs. Clemens will hit it right up the middle, a base hit. 1 run's going to score, and the Cubs advance here in their lead. Doug Clemens with an RBI single. It's 3-1 now, Chicago. And Joey Amalfitano now has a chance with the bases loaded, a big spot, and he lines it the other way. That ball's going to be caught. Nice play out there in right field and good positioning. And the Cubs' threat is over with the bases loaded. We'll move now to the fourth. 2 outs for Jimmy Smith. Ellsworth delivers, and there's a line shot down the right field line. That's going to be extra bases. Smith is going for 3. He's going to make it a 2-out triple here. Billy Williams gets the ball in, but Smith with the triple. Home runs, however, there, and it's 4-2 now. We're all the way to the bottom of the 7th. Ernie Banks facing Bill Hobble. Banks hits it deep to left. It might be, it could be, it is. Home run, Ernie Banks. Solo shot. Giving the Cubs some insurance here. He goes deep to the bleachers in left, and it is 5-2 Cubs. 8th inning now. Randy McDaniel on the mound facing Russ Wrightstone. 1 out. Wrightstone is going to drop a single for a hit. But we'll take things to the 9th now. Lee King facing Ted Abernathy. 1 out for King. Cubs looking to close out game 1. This is lined for another hit here to right field, so it's the 10th hit for the Phillies. 2 outs now. Dots Miller with the man on. And this is hit back to the mound. Play is made there. Abernathy with the play off of the mound to get the final out. And the Chicago Cubs come through here with a 5-2 win against the Phillies to open game 1. Ron Santo 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Ernie Banks 2 for 3 with a home run, 2 RBI, and Dick Ellsworth gets the win. He strikes out 3 in 6 innings of work, does allow 8 hits, but got out of it fairly unscathed, navigated it well. Jimmy Ring with the loss, and Abernathy got the save for Chicago, so the Cubs start the series off just the way they want to, winning at home 5-2, getting their toes into the water here first. And the Phillies now will try to rebound in game 2 as Jesse Winters will take the mound for the Phils against Cal Kuntz for the Cubbies. Chicago looks to go up 2-0 with a win here in game 2. And the Phils try to even things out before they head east to Philadelphia. So the excitement continues here in this best of 7. Let's head out to Wrigley Field for game number 2. Game 2 from Wrigley Field. We're bottom of the 2nd. The home team in there with Ernie Banks facing Jesse Winters. And Banks will hit this one deep to right, the opposite field. That ball's all the way back there and gone. Ernie Banks. His second home run of the postseason here of this series. It's now 1-0 Cubbies as they open up the scoring here in game number 2 on the Banks home run. We move to the 4th. Ed Kenichi up there. And Kenichi goes deep to left. He's going to tie this game up. He will. Kenichi with a solo home run. Game now tied 1-1. Bottom of the 4th. Joey Maltefano at the plate. 2 men on. Maltefano's going to go to second. Make the play there. Runners will advance here. But there were 2 outs, so that'll end the inning. The Cubs can't make the most out of that threat. And in the tie game, Cliff Lee now the hitter. And Lee's going to go back up the middle. That ball will get through. So a base hit for Cliff Lee here to lead off the 8th inning for the Phillies. Cy Williams the hitter. And Williams wraps one deep to right field. That ball's all the way at the track, and it is gone. Cy Williams with a 2-run home run here late in game 2. That's going to give the Phillies a crucial 3-1 lead here to open up the well-pitched and well-played ball game. 3-1 Philadelphia. We move bottom of the 8th. Billy Williams now facing the shift. And Huck gets the pitcher. Williams goes the other way. That's going to be a rough play. It's not going to be in time. So Williams is on first base, and Ernie Banks is going to represent the tying run here with 1 out. Banks will hit this one to short. Play's going to be made at first. They'll get Banks there. Williams moves to second. Now Williams to third with Clemens at the plate. 2 outs. Clemens will hit this one not far enough. It's going to be caught in the infield by Monroe, and the Phils hanging on here to a 3-1 lead as we move to the bottom of the 9th. And Bailey up there to lead off the inning against Petey Behan. There's ball 4, so Behan walks the leadoff man. Not a great start there for the Phils. And here's George Altman as the Cubs try to rally. And Altman will hit this to second. Play it first on the relay is not in time. They only get the force. But there's one away here, and Vic Rosnowski up there. He strikes out. So the Cubs are going to be down to their last out. Here's Jimmy Stewart at the plate. 1 on, a 2-run ball game. There's a ground ball to second again. That's going to be routine. Monroe makes the pick, and that will do it. The Phillies come out here in game 2 and pitch extremely well. A Cy Williams home run in the 8th inning is the biggest blow of the game and the difference. Cal Koons went 5 innings, didn't get a decision, but struck out 6. Jesse Winters pitched for the Cubs in a no decision as well. And Cy Williams with a 2-run bomb in the 8th inning at the most crucial time for his team makes the difference. Behan got the save. Baumgartner with the win. And this series is all even. A surprise win here for the Phils, as this series now moves to Philadelphia for games 3, 4, and 5. And it's a best of 5 now as both teams look to get back on track here in game number 3. It's going to be Larry Jackson against Lee Meadows. Can the Phillies surprise again and do it in front of their home fans and put the real pressure on the Cubs? Again, both teams with losing records, so definitely not a sure thing the Cubs will pull the series out, especially with the bats going silent here for the last game. So let's see what happens in game 3, if Philadelphia's for real in the series, or if the Cubs can turn things around. So here we are at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia, capacity crowd to see game number 3. That's another wonderful thing about these matchups. Won't usually see a capacity crowd come out to see a 100-loss team, but you do now when the best of 7 series is at play. So Let's see how the Phillies do at home. It's the Cubs up there, however, with bases not loaded, but 2 on here for Ernie Banks. Lee Meadows, the pitcher. And Banks is going to drive this one to left. It will drop. And Banks comes through again. The Cubs get on the board first again. And it is 1-0 here in the first inning, thanks to the Ernie Banks single. Runners on the corners for Doug Clemens. And Clemens grounds this one in the right. That's going to get through. That's going to score another Cub run. Banks makes it all the way to third. And the Cubs have come out meaning business this time around. They get 2 runs here in the first inning. And still batting, Ed Bailey now the hitter. Bailey hits it to right field, another hit. The Cubs just lining hit after hit here, and it is 3-0 with 2 out in the very first inning. Lee Meadows getting hammered here, and the 3 spot holds up as we move to the second, and Jimmy Smith up there with 2 outs and 2 on. There's ball 4. So Jimmy Smith walks, and now the Phillies load the bases here with Larry Jackson in a jam against Lee Meadows, the pitcher for the Phillies, and he hits it to third. Santo makes the play, so the Cubs get out of it. The Phillies let their pitcher bat in the second. Doesn't pay off. It's 3-0 now, and we move to the 6th, and you can see there the Cubs have opened it wide open. A 6-run 5th inning. It is 10-1 Chicago. Cy Williams now batting bottom of the 6th. In a Cubs blowout. Williams will launch this one deep to right center. That ball up against the wall, but over it. Home run for Williams, deep to right center. 427 is the tape measure on that blow, but not much to cheer about if you're a Phillies fan. It is now 10-2 as we move to the 7th. Bailey up there with runners on the corners. And Bailey's going to gap it there to left center. 1 run's going to score. Here comes another run around in the third to the plate, and it is a 2-run double for Bailey. Cubs with 17 hits. It is now 12-2 Chicago. 13-3, we move bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. Jack Warner to close it out. Lee King is the last hope here. He hits a grounder to second. Play's going to be made there. And that's all she wrote. The Cubs completely dominate Game 3. It is 13-3. The final with 21 hits from the Cubs. Just a dominant performance. You see there, Doug Clemens, 5 for 6 in the big day for Chicago. 2 RBIs with 3 runs scored. Billy Williams, 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs. And Larry Jackson, the winning pitcher, went 8 innings, striking out 3, only allowing the 1 run. A completely dominating effort by Chicago as they bounce right back here in game number 3. 13-3 the score. Setting up an advantage now for the Cubs as we head into game number 4. So back again, it is game number 4. Cubs lead the series 2-1. We got runners on the corners here with Billy Williams up first inning again. And Billy Williams deep to right field. That ball's going to clear the wall. 3-run homer for Williams. The Cubs jump on the Phils again right here in the first inning. What a blow by Williams. It is 3-0 Chicago. A mistake there. And they put 4 up in the first inning. We'll move to the 4th. Jimmy Stewart in there facing George Smith with 2 on and 2 out. And there's a line shot up the middle. That's going to get a run in, maybe 2. Throw to the plate's going to be late. And the Cubbies now up 6-0. They're pouring it on after the Stewart single. Just like they did in Game 3. Game 4 seems to be going that way. And Bill Frall up there on the mound. He's pitching a 1-hitter. Facing Cy Williams here in the 4th. Williams does it again. He goes deep to right. That ball will leave the yard. Cy Williams with another home run. That's 3 for him in this series, but I think they've all been of the solo variety, so it is now 6-1. Ed Kenichi up there. Still in the 4th inning. And Kenichi goes deep to left. That ball's going to fly out of here. Kenichi with the home run. It's back-to-back for the Phillies. And it makes it 6-2 as Philadelphia has some life. We'll move to the 5th. Banks up there. He's had a nice series. And Ernie Banks goes deep to left. This ball's way back there. Count it, another one. Banks with a long home run. He's got 3 now in the postseason, and it is now 8-2 Chicago. Ernie Banks with another big blow. Here's Jimmy Stewart. We're still in the 5th. Stewart's going to hit one deep to center field. That ball's going to get down. Another run in for the Cubs. It's going to be a triple, it looks like. He beats the throw at third, and it is a bases clearing triple for Stewart. It is 10-2 Cubs. Offense coming to life here for Chicago. 6th inning now, Ron Santo. And Santo gets on the board here with a long one. That ball's going to leave the yard. Another long home run for the Cubs. 11-2 now. Chicago really putting their stamp on this ball game. 7th inning now. Let's see what Stewart does. He's had a big series. Philadelphia having trouble getting anybody out, and that is why. Stewart another shot to center field. That ball gets down. Looks like it's going to be another triple. It sure is. Stewart on his horse. Triples again. We move now to the 9th inning. Jack Warner in there again to end this. He delivers. There's a ground ball to second. So the Cubs, with their 2nd consecutive blowout, do the job here. 12-2 after winning Game 3, 13-3, 17 hits. The last 2 games have just been slugfest for the Cubs. The Phillies with no chance in either of the games. In this one, Jimmy Stewart 5 for 6. Bill Fall got the win, pitched well. Billy Williams with a big home run, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Banks went deep. Santo went deep. 17 hits for the Cubs. They are now in complete control of the series. 3-1 as we move to the crucial final game in Philadelphia. Can the Cubbies wrap it up here in Philly? Or will the Phillies survive to take it back to Chicago? Let's see what happens in game number 5. Will the Cubs bats stay red hot at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia? Let's see if Philadelphia can stay alive and avoid losing the series. And this is game number 5, and wouldn't you know it, the Cubs once again threatening in the very first inning against Jimmy Ring. 2 on for Billy Williams. And Williams ripped one deep to right field. If that's fair, that might go. Williams, a 3-run home run again here in the first inning for the Cubs. Their bats have just been on fire in this series, especially in Philadelphia. 3-1 in the very first inning thanks to the Williams home run. 2nd inning now. Sano up there with a man on second. Ron Sano deep to left. That ball's got carry. That ball's going to leave the yard. A home run for Sano with the man on. 5-0 Cubs. The same tune, the same song here at Baker Bowl. Philadelphia just pitching, just getting hammered as we move all the way to the 8th inning. Another double-digit hit game for the Cubs. It's 7-2 as they look to close out the series. Billy Williams at the plate again. 2 on. Williams will line this one to right field. That's going to get down and score a couple more. So Billy Williams with a 2-run double. He's got 5 RBI in the game. And it is now 9-2 Cubs as they are strolling to the series win. We move bottom 8th. Ed Kenichi at the plate. Bob Bull pitching. Kenichi takes ball 4 here. Nobody out, so the Phillies trying to do something here in the 8th inning. Russ Wrightstone, the batter. And Wrightstone will line it down the left field line. That'll get down. 1 run's going to score. So a double there for Wrightstone to make it 9-3. John Monroe, the batter. Bull delivers. Monroe will strike out, and the threat is over for the Phillies here in the 8th inning. We move to the bottom of the 9th. Bob Humphreys facing Cy Williams with the man on and 2 outs. Humphreys delivers. There's a pop-up. Down the 3rd to make the play is Ron Santo, and the Cubs can celebrate. They win game number 5, 9-3. They dominate the 3 games here at the Baker Bowl after splitting at home, taking this series 4-1. Billy Williams, as we said, 5 RBIs, 4 for 5 in this ball game. Ron Santo, 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs, so that's 8 of the 9 runs driven in for the Cubs. Don Landrum, 4 for 5 for Chicago with 3 runs scored. Ellsworth is the winner. Ring is the loser. And this series just turned on its head when it came to Philadelphia. The Cubbies really dominating here and playing the type of baseball that is exciting to watch, but not very close or dramatic. And they scored 34 runs in 3 games, believe it or not. And the hits just kept piling up. Looking at some of the numbers here for the Cubbies, you can see here Doug Clemens hit over 500 for the series, as did Jimmy Stewart. Billy Williams with 11 RBIs, he hit 500. Ernie Banks with 3 home runs, just silly numbers for the Cubs hitting all series long. And as you might imagine, the Phillies pitching, as we said going into the series, just hammered Jimmy Ring on the ERA of over 11. Bill Hubble, George Smith. Not much you can say about the Phillies. Even their winner, Stan Bumgarner, an ERA over 6. So it was all Cubs. No real standouts other than Cy Williams for the Phillies with their bats with 3 home runs. And the MVP is, of course, Billy Williams. He had an unbelievable series with 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, hit 500, was 11 for 22, scored 6 runs. One of the many stars for the Cubs, who take this series as expected, but they do it in emphatic fashion, winning 4-1. The 1965 Chicago Cubs moving on in series number 113 here with Out of the Park Baseball, our home engine. Hope you enjoyed this historical matchup. More to come shortly. And again, the Cubbies win the series 4-1.